To what would you give each moment in a day if you knew that you only get 4 unique and different days to shine? It is such an arbitrary number, 4 to be sure. But the parameters are set. You know the day of your execution or of your deliverance. This is a trial by combat. It's a day to define you, a day to test you, a day where all the torturous hours of training come together, where it's you, your gun, your preparation, your teammates, and your tenacity on display, dissected by your enemies, with your skill, your will to win, weighed and measured. It is your chance to prove to the world that in this small slice of place and time, that you above all others are to be remembered, to be respected. In the sport of paintball, it will come down to Sunday, the holy day, where you get to earn your place in the game. And in 2021, you get 4 of these. So this is the story of many moments, but of 1 year of what happens on 4 Sundays. At the first NXL event of 2021, the Sunshine State Major, with all the COVID chaos of the recent past and present, the principal questions at hand, both of fans and players, were mostly simple. Could the best teams and players in the game keep their hold on the top tier? And if they could, who would it be? Also a known fact, all the less experienced bottom tier teams had gotten better, more focused. But could they crack into the upper echelon and start making Sundays? All the changes in the offseason, or the decision to not make changes, weigh on the mind as the year's first fight begins.
Let's go! Let's go, energy! Fuck these boys, let's go!
All the hopes, fears, and expectations come alive as the 20 professional teams battle through the 4 games that they get in the prelim round. The top 10 teams move on to Sunday from the prelims. The top 6 go right into the quarterfinals. The other 4 have to battle it out in the wild card round. The rest of the teams are eliminated.
It's gonna be a long goddamn day!
Going into that Florida event, the first event this year, starting at the practices I was really trying to push the pace, like obviously faster than I would ever get away with at a tournament. But that allowed me to see every mistake possible if I were to try to push the pace at any moment, whether it was in a match or within the points. I remember we played Heat first match. I had a mindset of I'm gonna push until it stings me once or twice, and then I'll start to reel it back.
The first top-level casualty of the 2021 season was Houston Heat's hopes to improve upon the 2 ninth-place finishes from 2020. As they lost 2 games in the prelims, they barely missed the cut, taking 11th place. They would have to wait until the second event for their chance at redemption.
You know, honestly, it was my first event with the team, and I'm trying to figure out, like, I know all the guys, but I'm trying to figure out what the guys do best. And you really can't have an understanding for that until you really get in to these events. You know, how the guys like to play, the things that Houston Heat does well, how we work together, right? You know, my style versus their styles, and, you know, who we are as a team. And we were an overtime point away from going 3-1. We were, you know, a couple of small mistakes away from going 1-3, right? So we go 2-2, and, you know, we lose that overtime match to X Factor. We very well could have made Sunday.
Yeah, the first event was crazy. It was like 10 days before the first event, we found out that we had a coaching change. Had Ryan, after the first practice, injuring his back. You know, we had a couple other injuries. You know, Blake has been nursing stuff. Okay, it's all hitting us at once. You know, we just came off this World Cup win, and all of a sudden we, like, things are definitely not going in our favor going into the first event of the year. We got Skinny Kevin, he slid in, and honestly, Skinny Kevin has been fantastic, right? But anytime you come in and it's a new team, new group of guys, new coach, a lot of changes. You know, it takes time to get used to each other.
It was definitely not an ideal start to Dynasty's season. They went 0-2 on Friday with a negative 3-point spread. So they had to win both games on day 2 of the prelims and win them big to have any chance to make it on. But they did just that, and they squeaked into Sunday. As the dust settled from the prelims and the matchups for Sunday were set, as fate would have it, San Antonio X Factor and San Diego Dynasty would play yet again. Only this time, it would be in the wild card round.
Starting off this first point here, though, in the wild card match here on Sunday, and it looks like a good break for both squads.
Yeah, Billy Maracha digging out the snake corner. Looks like Mikey Arena gets out in his mirror, so both teams taking that snake corner.
Before that match even happened, I figured out that Yo Shroud had the gold coin 99. And I was like, look, at some point we play each other this year, let's play for the 99 gold coin. He's like, all right, stars align. What do you know? Sunday afternoon rolls around, they went into 0-2 the first day, they then win their next 2 matches, they go 2-2, we play them. So there's a gold coin on that game. So I definitely was up in the middle trying to make sure I secured that gold coin.
Body going to be coming off, though, as Rainey goes and gets and bunkers out Blake Yarbrough.
I went to their wedge and I shot Blake in the foot, but then Blake kind of looked down and came up and shot me, and I felt like I got cheated, and we lose that point, so I'm heated. So the next point, I go into the middle. That's when I went through and I shot the piss out of Blake, and then he's standing in the way in front of Tyler, and he's slow walking. I'm like, dude, that's my pet peeve. Like, get off the field. I won't overshoot you if you run off the field, but if you do the slow walk with your gun up, expect it. Like, you're in the way, you're affecting the game. Like, get off the field. So he's in the middle of the way. He already cheated me, so I ripped into him, trying to shoot him and Tyler. I then shoot Tyler. Ryan takes off, I shoot him, and then I knew it was his blood in the water, and I wanted to hurt someone. So I went after Urena. I gave it to him. I actually thought it was Yosh, and then I held up because I held up out of respect, and then when I realized it was Urena, I put 1 extra 1. Yeah, a little fucked up.
But a big point right now for X Factor. They don't want to get knocked out in the wild card round.
Jesse Stevens taking the early walk for X Factor. 5-on-3 advantage here for Dynasty.
Wow.
Oh, fast concession.
Well, Ryan Brand, quickest in the business on that. We haven't talked about it yet this weekend because he hasn't had to do it because they've been playing so well for the most part. But
Billy Marachi is going to come this way. He's not going corner, though. He's going to go snake insert. He's got Archie behind him, Rainey behind him. Archie fills out. Blake Yarbrough filling up the center of the field.
X Factor has to start making attempts to move forward and push into these guns.
There goes Billy Bernacci, gets right in the snake. They do know that he's in there. Here comes Archie. Archie's going through, looking to get Blake. He gets him.
He gets Blake and he stays alive.
No, he gets caught.
Oh, he did get caught.
That game never should have went to overtime. We were in great position to lock up the field. It's like 1:10 on the clock. 4-on-5 at this point. I'm like, okay, we're gonna win the match here. We can win the match. And all of a sudden, boom, boom, boom. We die like 3 bodies at once. We didn't understand what bunkers we wanted to be in to kill the most time. But retrospectively looking at it, we were in all the spots to kill all the time. We just did things wrong. We over-gun fought. We didn't trust that we were in the spots. We didn't use teamwork. We didn't work together. And that's what sent us into overtime.
So here we go, about to jump into this overtime period, 5 minutes on the clock. Is it AB Dynasty or is it going to be San Antonio X Factor here in a rematch from our World Cup battle, final battle?
5 alive.
Dynasty prevailed. So
5 alive, both teams exactly mirrored up. Both coaches saw the exact same thing. Everyone's in the exact same spot. Billy and Mikey are fighting heads up over here. Blake and Alex are in the back center. Rainey releases first for X Factor, gets up to the center tower.
So we shoot one quickly. We get a free kill off Marcelo, like not a free kill, but an uncharacteristic early death.
Archie and myself, the entire match, were doing the same bounce shot back to each other, you know, from back center to back center, off of this tall tower, but it wasn't really working. You know, like you could see the paint coming in and you're like, man, it's not really there. Like we're scaring each other, but it's not there, bro, you know, and we would both recognize it's not there and we would try to dip out and get to that secondary position. And the overtime point, sure enough, the very first ball he shoots off that tower drops right down in to the top of my tank as I'm shooting, and I just look at it. And the deflating feeling I can't even begin to explain, because it's overtime, it's Sunday, it's a problem, it's a mistake, and it's especially when you're in the 2 or 3 position. If you're a front player, you get shut off the break or you're making a move, that's one thing. And you should put that weight on yourself if you're in that role. If you're a 2 or a 3 and you're one of the early deaths in a big point, likely if you lose, it's your fault.
So now we're 5-on-4. So now we're in the advantage, right? So now I can start probing around. I heard Blake was in the middle. He then retreated back. So I'm like, they have to be waiting for this move. So every time when I was moving around in the middle, I made sure not to touch things because that would kind of orchestrate where I was at. But I'd also look through the cracks. So I could see through the hole if someone was trying to wait for me to go to that gap. So when I go to their side, I could see Ryan looking through the hole. I came around and I missed him. And that was a good ball, but it put him in, allowed me to go to their side, shoot Blake, and then create offense for our guys to play off of. I ended up dying after that from Ryan, but it kind of opens the window up. Archie's able to go down the field. He's then playing off Billy. Archie shoots another guy, then shoots another guy, capitalizes on our move.
Billy Bernacchi gets in this thing for San Antonio X Factor, and he's untouched. He's feeling no pressure, so Billy's going to go
50 now.
pretty close.
Billy's got to stay alive here. Mike checks off, looks inside, gives Billy the advantage over here. He's dominating on the outside now.
Again, Archie's doing a really good job of playing off of his teammates' moves, and he's trying to clip out Greenspan. They do shoot Urena.
Oh,
it's coming down just
Greenspan.
to Ryan Greenspan and Tyler Harmon, and unfortunately for San Diego Dynasty, their tournament is going to be ending here because of some awesome play from Rainey Stanzik, Billy Bernaccia, Archie Montemayor there hitting that buzzer. Great job. Also alive over there on the D side was Jesse Stevens. So it came down to Greenspan and Tyler Harmon, Rich, and because Marcelo had that early death, and then Urena got stuck in that can.
It was that close. It was the razor's edge, you know, and came down to 1 point in overtime. And honestly, I put that entire point on myself of being the first to go in that back spot.
You know, Blake had a little bit of a knee injury, and he's been dealing with that the whole offseason. We're like, you know what? Let's keep you on your feet, and let's have you go up the middle, right? Because we've seen you do fun stuff up there, and even when we kind of rotate and practice, sometimes it'll be like, play over there, play over here, and just go up the middle. And like, he knows that he can roll the dice. And this is the other thing is he's played over on that Dorito side so long that he knows how those guys and what those guys are going to do. So it's easy for him to maneuver based on what other team or players are going to do. And again, he takes those chances. So that's our new center guy. And thank God, because I don't want to go up there anymore. I know everybody was funny because I think him in or someone else was like, dude, center spot. This is going to be a great event for you. I go, I have only played the middle one time. That was World Cup. I don't play the middle, guys. Like, this is going to be a great event for someone else.
The other wild card match featured San Diego Aftermath and Baltimore Revo. Aftermath was on a renewed mission. Their last few seasons were mostly filled with frustration. They were on the edge of relegation. But Mike Kidman had returned to lead the team that he founded, and he brought with him a new roster filled with players who had been grinding for years and who knew it would be a hard road to regain glory for the storied franchise. Day one at the Sunshine State Major went well, but Aftermath had a hard time getting offense going and dropped 2 games on Saturday. Their 2-2 record forcing them into the wildcard round. Baltimore Revo brought their best roster ever to the new season, but they had had a hard time getting their whole squad to events in the past, though they had made it to the top 4 3 times. This year represented a chance for Revo to make a run, and maybe be a dark horse for a win, and to finally get on the podium. But they also went 2-2 in the prelims, and they barely made Sunday. This wildcard game was a rematch from the prelims. Aftermath lost to Revo by 3, and could only put 1 point on the board, but this battle would prove to be harder fought. As the wildcard game began, Frank Antetomaso was trying to take ground on the D side, but he took the early walk. Aftermath pushed Joe Barrett up the center quickly. Revo already had Stephen O'Mara in position in the center. It came down to a 5-on-3. Revo was forced to concede, and Aftermath went up 1-0. Then in the next point, after a 5-on-5 break, Revo star Thomas Kim drew a penalty, and Revo took full advantage of the high body situation to quickly tie it up. At the start of the next one, Aftermath pushed into D3 on the break. They took some ground on the Snake side. They were the first to the 50 in the center, but then Revo pushed forward and took control on the offense to put up another point. The score was now 2-1 with 7 minutes to go. Aftermath doubled up the back center, and they sent 2 towards the D side. Troy Erickson went up the middle, but drew Aftermath's second penalty. Revo swarmed to put up their third unanswered point. Now down by 2, Aftermath played aggressive. They shot O'Mara going up the center, and then Frank Antetomaso off the D side. It was now 5-on-3, and they were able to close out, with Thomas Kim running in to hit the buzzer. Both teams lost a body on the break in the next point, and they were both killers. Kim for Aftermath and Anta Tommaso for Revo. It was 4-on-4 until Revo's Matt Derulo also took the walk.
They can't afford to go out and play defense, Matty. There's a lot of time, 4.5 left, but there's not a lot of time if you're not playing offense.
Tim Brusselback got into the snake, and Aftermath was able to tie it up.
Those dudes, Mike Hinman, they've been grinding all off season, nonstop every single weekend. That's the formula for that camp, and that's why they have success. So they were very prepared and they were very hungry.
3:36 left on the clock, tied at 3 apiece. Revo was able to put a ball on Brusselback as he ran out wide snake side, then went up 5-on-4. But Thomas Kim pushed into the 50 on the D side, and Erickson went up the middle. With 2:20 left to go, Revo had a body in the back snake can, and also the back cake playing defensive, trying to stop Kim, as Frank moved up to get the crossfield shot. But Tim was killed, and Hallberg also took the walk. Chaos set in, but Revo was able to put the point on the board with just 34 seconds left. One point in 34 seconds is possible. Aftermath launched a full field attack, but Revo held the line to move on.
Field off.
Aftermath's trying to do it here. 24 seconds left. Trying to tie it up. They're going to be getting a penalty, though, so that might be the coffin nail here.
They're trying to find a player to pull.
From Baby. 7, 6. 2 this way.
3.
In the quarterfinals, Seattle Thunder faced off against the Russian Legion. Thunder had a clean, undefeated run through a pretty tough division in the prelims, looking the best they ever had, saving close points and playing aggressive, taking down Dynasty, Revo, Level, and Aftermath. For Thunder, this represented a new tier of possible performance, but they had their hands full with their quarterfinal opponents.
This year, this is like a little bit complicated year for Russian Legion. We lose huge weapons. This is Kirill and Pasha, but this is happening because of a visa issue. But same time, we find a solution to find Mike Waring.
Only 3 members of the recent star roster remained: veteran Sergei Sonaisko, the young killer Leo Smotrov, and MVP Alexander Burtnikov. Longtime Legion member Vasily Panteleev returned, and they picked up American Mike Waring to round out their starting 5. The Russian Legion coasted through their first 3 prelim games before dropping a match against Tampa Bay Damage, but their 2 Mercy Rule wins enabled them to skip the wildcard round.
Thunder on first event show like 4-0 before Sunday. Everybody a little bit stressed and thinking, oh, what they do over there, what off-season they have, like they maybe go to cheap restaurant a lot or what, like how this happened.
Unfortunately for Thunder, though they dominated in the prelims, they had a hard time against the Russians on Sunday. The Russians put up the first point with ease, but then the rest of the points had a similar story. Points 2 and 3 were close, but though Thunder pushed forward, the stellar play from the Russian veterans shined. The Russians just kept putting point after point on the board.
This is the do-or-die moment for Seattle Thunder. They have to win this point.
Both teams were losing bodies, but the remaining Legion veterans were outplaying the less experienced Thunder squad, exposing the work they still needed to do to climb higher in the ranks.
I think they find good team strategy. They have good experience, like with old guys, like Coreyfield, and they have young blood, and that's why I think they make good job on first event and beat Dynasty and beat like big teams.
Legion put up 5 unanswered points until Thunder scored to end the shutout, but the Russians eliminated Thunder and advanced to the semifinals.
So far, I've learned a whole bunch just in the 2 weekends I've been with them. I had the opportunity to go down to Colombia last weekend with them for about a 4-day weekend and have a long practice weekend and really learn the team and the guys and really gel. And it's kind of nice. The team kind of fits my play style. The Russians are known for being, aggressive and super fast, and that's what I'm known for being aggressive and super fast. So to have 4 guys behind me that really know what they're doing and have won world championships, it just kind of makes my job a lot easier. It's been fun out here, and it's a learning process, but we're ready to go. We're up into the top 4 now, so I think we're doing a lot better than most people think we'd be doing with the roster that we have. So.
Oh, I don't know about that. You can never count Moscow Red Legion out.
Los Angeles Infamous has mostly resided since their inception in the mid-2000s at the top of the game, always a threat to win events. But the past few years had not been kind. They couldn't make a Sunday in 2020, and they were ranked 10th overall in 2019. But this year, owner and coach Travis Lemansky would field, in his opinion, the best roster in Infamous's history. They went undefeated in the prelims, and one of those wins was against their opponents in the quarterfinals, AC Diesel. Diesel was relatively new on the scene. They were filled with both young killers and experienced veterans. They have more than enough talent to contend. Diesel earned their way into the Pro Division in 2019 the hard way, and they performed well in 2020, taking 5th at the World Cup. They were on every team's radar as another dark horse to potentially go deep on Sundays. At the start of the match, Infamous quickly lost 2 bodies as Diesel controlled the zones, won gunfights, and took the first lead. But Infamous was able to tie the game up in the next point when Diesel drew a penalty, and Greg Sewers attacked up the D side early.
Side AC Diesel is getting a penalty, so it is going to be difficult here for Hill as he moves up into the center. We got ourselves a 1-1 ball game.
In the next point, Diesel got a shot on Thomas Taylor after the break, and Zach Hill went into D3 as Clint Johnson pushed up the center. But Diesel lost BJ Henningberg to even up the body count. Ryan Hall was then shot off the snake side, and Infamous also lost Cody Mikowski.
Clint Johnson out past the 50-yard line here for AC Diesel, trying to finish off these last couple players, and there they go.
With 10 minutes left, both teams spread the field wide. It was 5-on-5 until Nate Roberts went past the 50 in the snake and got a shot on Thomas Taylor.
Miss with 4 bodies alive in the center, and look at this. So Roberts is going to get one. Let's see if he can get another one from here.
He also got another kill inside, forcing Ryan Hall into a tactical retreat. Hall then bunkered out Roberts. It was a good move from Hall to counter Roberts' kills. Mark Johnson then came through, but as the back and forth battle on the snake side went down, rising star Harrison Fry cleared out the D side to earn the point for Infamous.
And then streaking out wide though, Callie Rudolph is still alive, and it looks like Harrison Fry is going to get in there and hit that buzzer to keep Infamous in this game. It's going to be a tie ball game right now with 8:01 on the clock.
Tied up 2-2. Diesel then lost both Zach Hill and BJ Henningberg as Ryan Hall clocked in with Clint Johnson in front of him on the D side. Hall ran through to get both Johnsons, and Infamous took a 1-point lead. Infamous extended the lead in the next point as Diesel pushed up the center early. Harrison Fry went up the D side, and Greg Sewers up the middle after starting in the back center. Henningberg fell into the trap perfectly set by Sewers, who had, in his own words, been chasing chaos and weaponizing one side of the field.
See if Greg set the trap. He did. He set the trap for BJ and able to stay alive. The opportunities for Diesel are getting limited. They might want to think about conceding this point and preserving the time, and that's exactly what they're going to do. So going to go down by 2 with about 4:20 on the clock.
But it got interesting in the next point when Infamous squandered a 4-on-3 high body situation. Nate Roberts took advantage of a penalty, pushed down the snake side, and Diesel pulled within 1. It came down to the last point, 2:23 left on the clock. Diesel needing one to tie. A big moment for both squads. Tournament lives on the line with time dwindling. On the break, both teams went wide. Roberts and Henningberg into the snake, but then a penalty took them both out. Infamous almost ruined another high body situation when Hall and Mikowski both came off. AC Diesel's Mark the Iceman Baginski kept him in the point as he desperately pushed up the D side. Veterans Thomas Taylor and Greg Sewers were able to save it and push Infamous into the semifinals.
Greg Sewers might have an angle from that position to get a shot in on his back. It looks like he's still good to go, but finally getting flipped out of there. So Baginski almost saved this point, but it doesn't look like AC Diesel is going to be able to get it done.
Good for Infamous. You know, they had a rough year last year. They, you know, tried to get some big name players. It didn't work out. They stuck with their guys, and they're moving on.
So it's going to be Russians taking on Infamous, but before we get to that match, it's going to be Impact and X Factor and Revo and Damage. So can't wait to see that one. It's definitely starting to get a little bit warmer today. Still a little bit overcast here, a little outside of Orlando, Florida. You can see Thomas Taylor there. Still getting it done after all these years. I think this is his 20th season. And really helping out the squad with Greg Sewers out there. Those are the 2 bodies left alive to solidify Infamous's small victory here. Another 1-point game.
In 2020, Tampa Bay Damage was back to making consistent Sundays for a team that used to reign as the best squad in the game, with 3 wins in a row, including a World Cup. Making Sunday and going decently deep into the day wasn't enough. They wanted wins. The last win Damage was able to put on the board was in 2013, and their time at the top was a decade ago. But Damage's roster was still filled with highly competent elite killers. They just hadn't been getting the results that they'd been seeking. They matched up with Baltimore Revo in the quarterfinals.
So this is going to be an interesting battle. Jacob Edwards has also been dominant on that D side, Marcelo. We'll see what he can do here in this game. First to strike is going to be Tampa Bay Damage, as they're going to be shooting O'Mara off the break here.
Keith Brown stepped up at the start of the first point to give Damage a body advantage, but they lost Jacob Edwards to even up the count. Brad McCurley got into a crucial center spot, and it looked like Damage was in control of the 4-on-4.
Does have to be wary of when he pushes down this snake. That back corner bunker on this side can watch him as he goes, bump to bump. Right now, Revo is just posted up cross field, Marcel, so he doesn't have to worry about that currently, and he does have somebody behind him.
And they lost Jason Edwards. Matt Derulo launched, but he ran into McCurley's gun, and the count was even yet again.
So maybe Derulo getting some bad information, or because he immediately got shot and then turned around to Zaleski like, hey, you told me the wrong thing.
And Dan Zaleski got a shot on McCurley. Henry Sens ran down Keith, and Revo's new pickup Chris Shear hit the buzzer to give Revo an early lead.
So then here comes maybe the execution. Keith jumps over the top. I didn't see any balls.
Sens isn't hit yet.
Yeah, Sens isn't hit yet, and then they're going to do a little standoff real quick.
Even with the lead, Revo was aggressive to start the next one, and Damage went heavy guns up. Jason Edwards got clipped again trying to get out wide after the break, but his brother Jacob, who took an early walk in the first point, went off on the D side in a low body situation to keep his team in the tournament and the game even. Jacob Edwards was right back on the gas pedal in the next point, getting into D3 early. As Revo lost their back center and it was 5-on-4. Frank Antetomaso got to the 50, but he lost too many bodies around him as Brian Smith blazed up the snake side. Frank was run down by Jacob, and Damage put up another point. Unfortunately for Revo, the rest of the game went the same way. After going down a few and taking too much time off the clock, they were forced to run into guns, and Damage put up point after point, ultimately only dropping that first one, and stormed their way into the semifinal round with the final score against Revo, 6-1.
Oh, Edwards that was a beautiful shot here on Dan Zaleski. To go, Damage just on cruise control right now. Not doing anything special. In that one, controlling zones, shooting bodies. Can't really criticize Revo in those deaths though, because they're in a situation where you have to start putting guys in and making moves, and that is a lower percentage play.
We're supposed to do this.
It's 40 seconds. We're good.
You hear me? Nothing to celebrate yet. We're supposed to be here. Hey, after that fuck-up point, cleaned it up. I rotated multiple guys through, multiple things. Dude, we are fucking scary. If we execute,
Edmonton Impact's success in the current generation of our game puts them in the conversation as one of the best teams ever assembled, with a dozen wins all over the globe in just the past 5 years alone. Impact was masterful in the prelims, always a super stacked all-star team, though they were missing most of their Canadian core. Their 2021 roster did not disappoint.
Half our team is pretty much new. 4 of our members have only played 2-3 events with us, so I mean, we're still in that honeymoon phase, so we still have to figure out what we need to do, and our identity has to be figured out. And you're not the same person you were 6 months ago, so we all have to grow together, and I think this is why I'm still passionate about it. It's like I'm seeing something from the beginning blossom. I think I've accomplished everything I've wanted out of the sport, but I want to help these guys accomplish everything they want out of the sport.
Their prelim opponents could only score 4 total points across 4 games, and 3 of those came in a 1-point win against their longtime rivals, current quarterfinal antagonist, San Antonio X Factor.
It's always fun playing them because I think there's just that natural rivalry, just because Rainey's now switched over to that team, and we've always had close matches with them, and they used to be our sparring partner in practice, and now they're not, so. We tend to have this description of our team that we like pocket and we like to play conservative. The dynamic of Kyle and I, we can tend to be a little more aggressive, more so on the snake side. And I think it's just helped us be a little more diverse in game plan, whether it's in a close match or when we're up points. We can kind of throw that aggressive breakout at any moment, and against X Factor, we know they're going to do the same. You know, they're going to throw in game plans that they think we're not even thinking of, and that's just the battle of two top teams playing. It really just comes down to who's dialing in, more focused, and making least mistakes.
So just 3 bodies now here on the field. For X Factor, it's definitely Impact's point.
I get to my spot and I'm always looking for the initial push, and it wouldn't be there because the gaps are so big to get in that snake. Plus the snake wasn't that rewarding. It was so predictable when the guy would try to make the push down to your end. I didn't need to focus so much on the move right away as Sunday went on, just because everybody knew what the meta was on how to play that snake. So I was trying to find other spots to be more productive in, and that was the corner, because it was still the furthest bunker out wide when you're looking at the tapes of a layout, and I was able to turn the field even from that corner because guys couldn't make the corner like I was as consistent, and I was able to stretch the field wider than the opponent. It was easier for me to have more gun control on the opponent. Even if it was 2 or 3 guns, I was finding my rhythm and my timing, when to make the push, when to put the pressure, and that's what you saw there.
In a minute and a half.
All right, I like this. Here we go.
Oh, Jesse Stevens runs into a lane.
After Impact played a near-perfect 4 points, X Factor was finally able to get some crucial key kills, which led to a minor penalty on Impact. X Factor ran in to score their first point of the match.
Gonna open the door slightly for San Antonio X Factor. They needed something to happen. It does. And now we're gonna have a 3-point spread with 6:11 left. That's a good kill here for San Antonio X Factor. Nick Laval walking off. Still 4 bodies alive.
So X Factor fighting back here.
Well, it looks like so Mal's getting shot out of that back spot.
X Factor is finally able to slow down Goldman's productivity. After taking out Nick Laval in a move up the center, they got the crossfield shot on Goldman in the corner. And then X Factor played good team ball to pick apart the rest of Impact's players.
Gets diced up by 5 X Factor guys.
This is why I'm a fan of X Factors, because they're almost never out of it.
Both teams got a kill on the break, making it 4-on-4. X Factor keyed up on Goldman. The body advantage played smart. They took the point, bringing the game to within 1. A score that was 4-3.
And sure enough, that's what Bayrod's doing, attacking the attacker's butt. He does get clipped from TJ Danner. Archie's turning the table, so Archie's had a hell of a weekend, and he puts his hands up. All 5 are dead. He knew the count perfectly, and he's going to run in and preserve the time and hit that buzzer with just under 3 minutes to play.
Impact rotated Kyle Spica in for Alex Goldman to play the snake position. They sent Spica out wide to the corner, and he made it alive off the break. They had 5 alive. Impact then took defensive positions to grind out the clock, forcing X Factor to make mistakes.
X Factor has to have some sort of offense right now. Where's it going to come from? Jesse is in a good spot to try to... but he gets clipped.
That's okay. That's okay.
After 2 deaths, X Factor conceded to regroup. The score was 5-3. X Factor's accurate off-the-break shots got them 2 quick kills, which led to a minor on Impact. Ineos ran in to hit the buzzer, and then 1 minute left on the clock, and a chance to tie the game.
And this is going to be what X Factor needed here, as they needed quick points to have any chance. They needed a real quick one here, and they got what they needed. So
it's hard to continue to have that momentum when you're playing a top team, because you know they know that they're in it at any moment.
Now he's going to hit the afterburners to dive in, and he's able to make it clean, so that's crucial.
I knew I needed to get wide, just because if I made it to that corner, that I had such a good chance of slowing them down, whether it was coming from the snake side or in the center. That corner kind of held a lot of the angles if you had to do a push point against us. With me stretching the corner and us shooting the 2 bodies early, that was pretty much the nail in the coffin for X Factor.
The matchup in the semifinals would be Los Angeles Infamous versus the Russian Legion, and Edmonton Impact versus Tampa Bay Damage.
Infamous on first event looking very good too. Yeah, they have big roster, they have like good company of people, and Travis making good strategy stuff. And they know we have like short roster, and they know like we're not robots. Yeah, we a little bit tired, and they focus on this.
At the start of the game, both teams lost a body. The Russians pushed hard up the center with Leo Smotrov and into the D side with new pickup Mike Waring. Smotrov bunkered out Thomas Taylor, and infamous Ryan Hall died trying to protect against the push. It was an easy first point for the Legion. It was 5-on-5 in the second point until Smotrov was clipped, and Waring got shot to make it a 5-on-3 in favor of Infamous.
Russians.
Looked inside and got caught.
That's a huge kill for Los Angeles Infamous, and they're going to be getting a kill.
Thomas Taylor came through on Sergey, and Ryan Hall hit the buzzer to tie it up. The Russians went with a pretty conservative break, but they still lost Sergey, and he drew a penalty, which pulled out Smotrov.
Russians, Sergey's taking the walk.
Alive, though.
Another guy taking a check.
But Pantelev got a shot on Sewers, and it was 4-on-3. Hall was able to work into the snake at the 10-minute mark, and Alexander Burtnikov got shot battling. The last guns turned to Hall, and Cody Mikowski closed out from the D side.
He's just another one of those guys that every year just seems to get a little bit better.
Infamous again locked in off the break shots, taking out Pantelev, but young Leo Smotrov had a big move in the center, winning the battle with Greg Sewers and running through for a 2-pack. It came down to a 2-on-2. Sergey got the last couple kills to tie up the match. It was a bit of a bloodbath to start the next point as both teams lost 2. Then Smotrov pushed up the center. The Russians also lost Pantelev. Smotrov launched again as Sewers came off, but Taylor and Hall were left alive to clean up the point. They finished off Burtnikov to take the lead. Disaster struck in the next point as Malloy lost the top of his loader on the break, and though Sergey ran a tight route, he was clipped heading up to the center 50, 40 D-side wedge. Sewers stayed low and worked quickly into the center 50 after the first bodies dropped. Taylor clocked in from the snake 50 to get a shot on Smotrov. As soon as Malloy was killed, the Russians conceded to preserve time. Just 2:19 left, and they lost Waring from the D side. Alexander Burtnikov crawled onto Infamous's side of the field in the snake, and he chalked up multiple kills. Smotrov ran in to hit the buzzer to give them a chance. Infamous needed to hold the Russians for 58 seconds. They sent Thomas Taylor up the center to attack the attackers they knew would be flying up the field. Bodies were dropping everywhere. In the end, it was Greg Sewers who, in the first event of his final season, kept his gun on a swivel as the last seconds expired, catching the last 2 kills and saving the point in the game again for Infamous.
Sunday is everything because prelims are you adjusting and figuring everything out as a team. Sunday is the final project, and there should be close to no mistakes, if any, that day. Just because everyone's bringing their A game, they've made the mistakes and adjusted from the prelims, and now it's time for the real show, which is Sunday. It just, everything tightens up that much more that day. Zones, off the break shooting, everything. Everything gets exposed if you haven't learned what you needed to for that layout for that tournament.
Jacob Edwards had been slaughtering people on the D side all event long, so Impact made sure to put guns his way on the break in the first point. They got the shot. Then they also took out Brad McCurley, who had also been on fire a few minutes later. Justin Cornell clocked in on the D side, and the early lead went to Impact. It was the second point. Impact lost Rabikov and Damage lost McCurley. Neither team wanted to make a mistake, so the point ran long.
Great. Wow. Agent Smith has always been the one-ball assassin. Gives Damage a chance by getting back in this game by snapping Fuzzy down the tape.
Yeah.
Impact controlled the gunfights, and they put pressure on Damage in their bunkers. They traded kills, as Justin Cornell was again pushing up on the D side, and he got the crucial crossfield shot on Brian Smith. But then Damage came back to pull within 1. It was a close point, but Chad Fougiere's aggression ended it. game on the line, it was now Alex Goldman's chance to shine. It was 2-1 with 5:50 left, and Impact went down 2 bodies early.
Impact drops 2 on the break. They lose Fuzzy and Brandon Cornell. They make this a 4-on-2, and then they can be free to just run down the field.
Yeah, so...
Oh, Chad Boucher gets shot.
Yeah,
2-on-3.
Yeah, Chad Boucher getting shot there, and so Justin Rabikoff staying alive. Lots of pressure being put on these last couple players here for Impact, but now that's a big kill because that's going to free up Rabikoff to start pushing down this D side. And Jason Edwards, no one has shot their gun on Impact for a while. Justin's actually dealing with some sort of pain issue.
His gun might not be working.
Yeah, so I don't know what is stopping. What is this over here? They're down by 1. And
Mouse.
Mouse is
Look at that, Mouse. Wow.
Is going to steal this one. Talk about stealing point, the best. So we see the replays here on your screen, and this is Goldman. We've been talking about this all tournament, man. Is this snake side is treacherous. It's very difficult, but you got to kind of slow play. You got to be very careful. Sometimes you can push up totally contingent on what's happening, but the team that's going to win this tournament has to have the ability to steal points in clutch moments from the snake side, and that's why you pay out so much.
Damage didn't have time left to recover, and Impact would move on to the final match.
I mean, look, I'm here at the field. I'm here every week, and I put the work in. So if that should solidify your confidence going into pressure moments because you've done it so many times. It's just now you get to do it on a scale where everybody's watching, and you get to finally showcase all your hard work. So for me, that's a place to strive, and I love that.
Light these guys on fire, Lord. Let me be the best of the abilities. Keep them safe from injury. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Let's go! Sunday paintball, boys. Let's go. Team on 3. 1, 2, 3. Team squad! Do that shit in the face.
That's why we work. Hey, go to work one more time.
Play hard
go
for
to work
each other.
One more time. Let's go. Family on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Family!
The final battle at the NXL Sunshine State Major was now set. If Infamous could take the victory against Impact, it would be their first X-Ball win in 5 years. An Impact win would be yet another notch on their ever-expanding belt of recent victories in the past half-decade.
Five-on-5 break here with doubling up in that back center bunker. Infamous the first to try to get out wide, and it looks like they're able to get everyone out and get him out clean. And Greg Sewers has continued what has been pretty much a relentless attack on Greg Sewers. They're going to shoot out Nick Laval. So first to strike is Los Angeles Infamous, and they get a shot on J-Rab too. So this could be really good here for Infamous.
Because they did shoot 2 of us quick in that first point, and it was just kind of 1 by 1 after that. And I know it came down to myself and Matt.
It's going to be very difficult here. Matt Jackson does spread the field out.
The thing that I thought in my head was I should have at least tried to make a push. Because if you're going to lose that point, at least go forward and maybe you can flip it and make something happen. And I kind of just let the point play out from the corner.
Mouse takes a walk, and great first point for him.
Yeah, real solid control, great off-break shots. And it's just Matt Jackson, and they're going to save in some pain and concede the point and save the time. The crowd going wild here with the underdogs. Infamous going up by 1.
On the late kill, I shot him. Same 5, let's get one more in, you guys. Come on. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go, Rob. Let's go, 89.
We roll the dice. I go snake off the break. I end up making it. I saw Greg was shooting for me. Someone ends up picking him up, so that's kill 1. And I'm kind of just waiting down the tape because I know how Thomas plays. As soon as a guy's wider than him, he likes to match. So I'm waiting. Matt fills my corner, great move. Bad move though, when he shoots me in the back of the head. And and again, as a 1, to just move on. That's a mistake. He knows that shouldn't have happened. Me arguing about it or complaining is not going to do anything good for us. So I just walk off. Maybe it gave him a slight look like, hey, making sure that doesn't happen the next point or we're going to be in trouble here. But Matt ends up having a good point, you know, and he knew he needed to go step up after having that mistake.
It's just Cody Mikowski, so in fact, right on the board, yeah, we do have a game.
So we're always trying to fight back this whole match. We're down bodies, they're up bodies, they're trying to close. We're just trying to survive and get the information across to each other.
No, Matt.
Thomas was doing a really good job that match of finding his way in the snake and constant pressure. He did a really good job.
This is an incredibly important point. Yeah. And it's about how is the point won? Because if either team comes out and blows the other team out of the water, okay, now boom, huge confidence boost. We go back in the pits, everything seems to be working, so we'll see. Oh, look at this though, Justin Cornell getting shot at D2, so now it's a 3-on-5 situation. That's what's so hard when you are deep into the water on Sunday afternoon playing against the other best team out there. It's so hard to finish points because you don't want to make a mistake, so you're going to be extra, maybe a little bit tentative sometimes in making that move, and it's hard to close out on the 3-on-5.
Yeah, I think Thomas is going to find Nick the ball here. Once he finds Nick the ball here in the middle, he's going to go drop the hammer, maybe trade out, leave you in a 4-on-2 situation.
Oh, Thomas is picking the right moment to go. He's going to go and he's going to get. Oh, that's just a beautifully timed move from Thomas Taylor.
All about timing. All about great move. Great move.
The old man still got it.
Oh,
20th year in the Pro Division.
Handling, communicating and handling. Great move, Thomas.
Impact did not see this coming when they drew the game plan.
Well, Thomas Taylor's going to try to commit. See, I don't. That we might see.
No,
we're going to see a penalty. Oh my God. See, that's the worst case scenario right here for Infamous. They do shoot Matt. It's going to pull off 2 bodies.
We lose a bunch of bodies in all that chaos. I know Greg on that Dorito side was a bit confused. Our last engagement that he saw me in, I was in the corner, he was in the 50 Dorito trying to wrap and turn the field, and then I have Cody down my tape in the snake corner. So I put Greg in with a quick snap on the inside and moved right into S1, and I knew he would think that I would still be in the corner, and I think Greg had the count wrong just off that chaos of the penalty and us dropping quick bodies. He went to go trade his body with nobody in our Dorito 1, and I caught him on his mid-run. And just in that time, I'm thinking in my head, okay, this would be a good time to run me right now. And that's exactly what Cody was thinking. I come over the top to check him, and he's basically at the end of his run, trying to come run me down, and we trade bodies.
Wow, that's a fun freaking point, guys.
And when you put that amount of energy in trying to close a point against a team, especially when you're up bodies and you don't get that point, that will completely de-gas you. And now the momentum starts to shift.
Let's go, man. There we go. Fuck yeah.
Good shit, man.
Sitting here, and he's going to go up and underneath. Yep. He'll probably go all the way, and this guy's going to fill.
Same side, you guys are on the same side. 8 pods all down.
50 seconds.
White one.
Oh, he's running and gunning out there, so he's been digging out there without shooting. This time he makes it in running and gunning.
JC gets shot. JC gets shot on the break for Impact. Impact's lost this breakout every point, guys.
Yeah, Infamous is doing a great job of controlling the early battle here in these points, but they got to clean it up a little bit here on these closes.
Ryan Hall's calling the kill on Mouse.
Yeah, Ryan is screaming bloody murder, and he shot Mouse. The referee's looking for it.
Oh, and he gets caught. Ryan Hall gets caught.
Yeah.
Screaming for the hit.
Yeah, you got to be composed in there, man.
Oh man, tough break for Ryan Hall. It was one of those shots where it definitely hit me but didn't leave anything, so I think that comes down to like the ref's discretion, like if he physically saw it at that point. I was not trying to cheat, I didn't ever wipe anything. I asked the ref for a check, nothing was there, so just unfortunate events for Ryan Hall because he gets that kill. God, that changes everything.
In the center with Nick Laval, and here comes Greg Sewers. They're both up there. So who's going to get the better? Oh, they're going to shoot out. That was just absolutely filthy there as the ball comes off. I don't know who else could have shot him.
Sewers just took a hit.
Yep, Sewers just got shot at. Just wrapped up, releases throws 3-3, calls the kill.
So that kind of leaves the door open now for a potential move for us to go through the center, and that's exactly what Matt and I set up. Infamous, again, throughout the whole match, with just constant pressure on us, pushing onto our side, and Thomas makes a really good move and I just catch him at the last second in R snake, so he doesn't end up getting a body on that move. And I set up with Matt, put in the 4 across field, and he just highways Thomas, shoots the snake corner, and I think shoots the last body, closes that point, and that's curtains for that one.
Man, that was a really clutch point there from those 3 impact players, man. Those guys dug deep.
Yeah.
Those guys dug deep.
We knew that Infamous was just going to attack us, and we just needed to survive the chaos.
So here we go. Here comes the fast run through. Can Sewers do it? Sewers right now, right on the other side with John Jackson. Sewers still.
I get out to the corner. I know at that point that there's a good chance we're going to win the match, just because it was way too tough for a guy to push down the snake. Even if he had a corner player, I knew to pick my timing to put the corner guy in and constantly pressure the snake guy. In all that, Greg makes a really good move onto our side of the field.
Thomas right by him here, up in the center, 49 seconds to go. Both Thomas and Sewers are alive.
If Greg wins that gunfight with Nick, he can definitely go tie the game at that point. I think he comes through and possibly shoots me in the back and everyone else. He ends up trading that gunfight, and that kind of saved the point in us winning the event.
Penalty going to be assessed on Ryan Hall, and that should do it here.
That one definitely could have gone either way, and that one just came down to the discipline and focus, and we had more of it.
Impact was victorious, and they would sit atop the NXL standings with the early series lead. But could they hold on for another title?
For you guys.
You know, we were lucky to have JC join us from the Great White North, and you know, we missed Zach and Bart and Zane, and you know, they were here with us. They were in the meetings with us. They told us, they gave us inspiration and they talked to us. But like I said, it was a great team effort from top to bottom. So, like I said, I'm just proud.
Alex Goldman was the hero of the day, taking home the MVP and the Golden Barrel in a transformational performance.
I mean, that was the cool thing about Florida is, yeah, I got the MVP, but again, it's all thanks to everybody that is on my team, because you look back and you see there was a contribution from everybody on the team.
We all knew he was one of the best bruisers in the snake, but he won this award and he helped his team take first place because of his crafty tenacity and his patient aggression. Assets rarely seen coupled with elite pure assault ability.
I don't think that either Infamous or Impact expected that to be a 2-to-1 game. You know, you go in there and you tell Mouse to be himself, right? Mouse has been in this situation a million times. He knows how to handle himself. And a lot of that comes because Mouse is probably one of, if not the most prepared player in the game. Every time, every off season, every day off, every weekend off, Mouse is at the field doing drills. There's a reason why Mouse won the Golden Barrel and they won that tournament, and it's because he was there minimum of 1 day every weekend, all throughout December, all throughout January, all throughout February, putting in the time that probably a lot of other guys weren't putting in. So there's probably not a whole lot you need to tell Mouse that he hasn't heard already, other than go out there and be himself, and you know, this is what he does all that extra work for.
3 more NXL major events, 3 more Sunday battles to go. Next up, the NXL Mid-Atlantic Major, held just outside of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Who would rise and who would fall? And how did it all go down? Find out on the next episode of 4 Sundays.
Welcome to go! Woo! Hey, baby. Watch out, camera guy. Watch out, camera guy.
Woo!